As a dude in his early 20s, most of the manga or anime that I consume are the ones filled with blood, action, explosions, and most of the series that I really enjoy are the ones that generally fall into the slice of life genre, which usually could include other elements such as drama, comedy, or romance.
Because I needed constant dose of doki doki moments.
For me, I like a good slice of life that perfectly conveys each of the characters' quote-unquote realistic personal struggles in a sense that you commonly see, or maybe, just maybe you experience yourself, such as lack of self-confidence, friendships, love partner, emptiness, dreams, and life purpose. It's because being in your early 20s is about finding your true life purpose and love, am I right? Oftentimes, it makes me emotionally invested in the series every time I see the characters trying to overcome their shortcomings, how they deal with them, what they are thinking while trying to solve all of the problems, and eventually, gradually seeing the characters' personal growth over the chapters. It's like you're trying to project yourself into a position that they're in. But have you ever thought to yourself while reading a slice of life manga, why does it feel kinda relatable, even though I supposedly am not able to relate with this at all? Nonetheless, this is something that I felt recently as I binge reading Skip and Loafer. Skip and Loafer is a slice of life manga that primarily focuses on Iwakura Mitsumi, a small town girl who moved to Tokyo for her high school. The sole purpose of her life is to get a degree at a prestigious uni, as we all do, becoming a lawyer, elected as her hometown mayor, and eventually becoming the ruler of the world.
人の上に立つべき人間だからです。
She, as depicted in the synopsis, is a bright and shiny high school student who is also straightforward, pure, a bit airheaded, and unexpectedly unathletic. She's very perceptive to her surroundings, always eager to help others in need, and a little bit enthusiastic. Being just moved from a small town to Tokyo, it is inevitable for her to fight it hard to adapt to a new environment. The people, the places, and the paces. Design-wise, you might be thinking, ooh, here comes a super popular handsome guy with zero flaws who will somehow end up liking the female protagonist. Well, as it turns out, it's not. Obviously, I'm not able to relate to his circumstance at all because I'm not an ikemen and was not super popular back in high school, but it's interesting to see the way he progressed throughout the story. He got introduced into the series as someone who is acting a little bit laid back oftentimes, but knows how to make his boundaries clear and when to back out in certain situations. All in all, he seems like a very charming dude with maxed out social skills, which is kinda unfair to be honest. But despite all of that, he is also portrayed as someone who is able to conceal his true, let's say, his true feelings. The people around him and us, the readers, just do not know what he's actually thinking at the start of the series. He's pretty hard to predict and will oftentimes only shows his charming persona to the people around him. But that persona will instantly go away as soon as he's around someone that he feels comfortable with. He seems flawless from the outside, but the truth is, he often undervalues himself and seems to stubbornly cling to his past, believing that he does not deserve what he wants for the sake of others.
この感情は嫉妬だ。
In addition to the social dynamics, the series also introduced us to other friends of Mitsumi, Egashira, Murashige, and Kurume, which I would say are the core characters of this series. Those four, despite their difference in personalities and interests, somehow ended up in a friend group. It's basically a mix of two trendy girls, a hillbilly, and a nerd. Or you could say a mix of normies and a nerd.
女子高生っぽいこと全部やろうね。いいからそういうの。
At some point during high school, I think we had known or befriended someone like Egashira. You know, someone who will do to such length just to get something that she wants, even if it means intentionally or unintentionally hurting someone. Because of that, she seems someone who is, I don't know the right word to describe it, but she seems someone who is kinda malicious at the beginning. But she would also go out on her way just to teach Mitsumi and friends about volleyball, give her gifts, and teach Mitsumi again about the current fashion and makeup trends, which proved my initial assumption about her that she is someone who has malicious intent kind of wrong. She's a good person all in all, who will never back out once she set her mind on something. And behind all of that strong-willed appearance, she is just a girl trying her best to not let herself, her pride, get trampled over, who is always conscious about her appearance, and who is always trying to keep up with her idealized version of herself.
すごく練習して上手になったんだなってわかるよ。
A school is not a school without the kings and the queens. Well, maybe that is not the case if you went to an all-boys school, but my point is, Yuzuki Murashige? Yuzuki Murashige is the goddess of Tsubame West High School. Kind-hearted and easygoing to others, but a lot of people often get intimidated by her charming persona. I gotta say this, but the first time I saw her introduction panel, I was shocked and confused how on earth that someone could perfectly design and draw a 2D character. I fell in love with her at first glance, but ironically, this is the type of person that she can't handle the most.
ゆずきです。
Pretty, pretty, pretty. Isn't it wonderful to be called pretty by everyone? So wonderful that everyone starts to solely and blindly focus on your appearance. Getting new friends must be easy for you, right? Of course. It's because you're pretty. Oh, you must have had a lot of boyfriends in the past, right? Well, duh. No wonder for a pretty girl like you. Look at this painting that I put a lot of thought and effort into it. Haha, yeah. That's a masterpiece. What's your line ID by the way? Unfortunately, being pretty brings more harm than good to her, to the point that she got dragged into other people's problem. Luckily, she found a place where she can truly be herself, where people would not judge her and treat her based on her appearance alone. Damn, I guess pretty people have it hard as well, huh?
ねえ、前から思ってたんだけど、シフォンって何犬？ヨークシャテリア。
What about the people on the other side of the high school hierarchy? Do they have it easier? Wait. What do you mean by high school hierarchy? Well, to make things simpler, I think there are several classifications for high school students. First, we got the good-looking, charismatic, and popular students who seem to attract attention wherever they go and whatever they do. Second, we got I guess I could say, the average student who never had a major problem and is well-liked enough to be friends with anyone. And lastly, we got the nerd, who's always in their world with their niche hobbies, and sometimes they're kinda hard to get to know. But usually, it is because of the environment that they're in that they become a lot more reserved. Kurume is the last member of the friend group. She likes novels, chips, and dislikes flashy people.
やった仲間
She is quite socially awkward at the beginning, finding it hard to interact with new people, especially new, flashy, and fiery people. I mean, it is quite understandable, I think. Who does not fear the prejudice of your surroundings, especially in a new environment? And because of that fear of judgment, she's finding it hard to open up, acting very much reserved, consciously comparing herself to others, while undervaluing herself much lower than she is. But all it takes is one initiative either from others or herself to break that personal barrier down. It takes one initiative from her to take a step forward and let herself open up with the so-called flashy people. As it turns out, she enjoys being in the company of flashy people. As she faces reality in front of her, all of the what-if scenarios in her head just do not matter anymore. We just tend to go blind to what we and our surroundings have to offer. Now, since we already know a little bit about the main characters, what does this series actually have to offer? What makes it stand out from the rest of high school slice of life drama, romance, manga / anime? And my answer is, I don't. I do not really know how to explain it. Look, before saying things like, what the f***, such bad script writing, which it is, unfortunately, just give me a chance to sell this series. Admittedly, I found Skip and Lover because I was craving for some good slice of life reading materials. Back then, I saw the announcement for Spring 2023 anime and there was Skip and Lover. The first thing that catch my attention was obviously the art style. Even now the art style remains one of my favorites. I don't know why, but for me, the art style kinda resembles works that you find in shoujo manga, but apparently, the manga itself is published monthly in a seinen magazine. Besides the countryside and city sceneries, I think the strong point of the art style lies in the character design and their expressions. Because unlike any other themes that can go all out, like intense crazy fight scenes or huge ass explosions for example, the slice of life genre is kinda limited in that aspect. The way the characters' expressions are drawn during certain emotional moments for example, it never fails to make my heart break or filled with joy depending on the situation. To complement the art style and character design, obviously, the slice of life main selling point heavily relies on the social dynamics and the character itself. The characters are complex and unique in their own way. It's not just this new girl who fell in love with this handsome dude with no flaws at all and then that's it. No, it's this new girl who's trying her best to adjust with a new environment while chasing her dreams, who met this handsome guy who seems flawless, but apparently has his own issues as well, so that's why he's been running and running for years and so on. The point is, the characters are complex, and that's what makes the dynamics in this series feel realistic. Even some of the side characters got their own nice little backstory, or we get to see their line of thought so that it makes sense for the readers why the certain character behaves like this. We get to see the development of how each of the characters tries to overcome their shortcomings, and then, as the chapter progresses, they slowly begin to come to terms with it. For example, we get to see this sharp and rigid senpai who eventually loosens up a little bit. We get to see a Gashira make up her mind and confront her feelings. We get to see how the senpai stays passionate about his dreams and manage to convince others as well, and many more to be explored. It's a realistic drama while at the same time, it makes you feel emotional and empathetic as you binge the series. At least that's my experience when binging Skip and Lover. Speaking of realistic, empathetic, and relatable, the strange thing is, at first it feels weird for me to be able to relate to this manga. Why does it feel weird, you may ask? The reason is simple yet so stupid. It's because, at first, I feel like I could not relate to the girl's struggles, like trying to learn about makeup and keeping up with the latest fashion trend, which already sounds stupid and pretty embarrassing. But then, I realized that when you look at the series from a different perspective, or if you look, for example, at the other characters, as it turns out, it's not exclusively a girl's problem, as it can happen to anyone. And for sure, some of the personal problems does happen to me. I mean, feeling inferior, carrying the burden of past mistakes, and lack of self-confidence does happen to everyone, right? Because again, for sure it does happen to me, even as I'm writing this script right now. Hell, even recently I feel like my fashion sense is dull, as I pulled out my unmatching shirts and pants colors to my uni class. Sounds stupid, right? That's why I put it as a clickbait title. Even when I look back to my high school days, I've met several people that resemble some of the characters from the series. Maybe I like the series because the character dynamics feel realistic, because the situation that they're in, indeed, does happen to anyone. There is no plot such as running away from your parents to get married, or somehow you live in the same house with your senior who plays basketball. Don't get me wrong, I have a soft spot for that kind of series as well. But if you seek something that can portray relationships, struggles, and emotions realistically, I think Skip and Lover does a perfect job. Obviously, this video does not serve any justice to Skip and Lover, but I think the series deserves more recognition. If you seek some good slice of life or drama, try to give Skip and Lover a shot. And if you never tried reading a manga before or just hated it, you can just watch the anime since it has finished airing as of recording this video. The anime adaptation, I think, is very excellent, from the color palette, voice actor, soundtrack, and pacing, which can be a little tricky for a series that heavily relies on gradual story development. Season 1, I think, ends with a perfect conclusion, with the assumption that there will be a season 2. Then, if you think that you enjoy watching the anime and want to know more about the series, you can just continue reading the manga, where the more characters are explored more deeply. The good or bad thing is, depending on how you see it, the series is only at around 50 chapters ongoing, which is amazing given how compact the story and the characters feel. Until then, I see you in the next video. Ciao!